Hello, everyone. It's ReneePiane and Clayton Norcross, all the
Okay.
way from Hawaii. Gosh, you look great today. How are you doing?
Thank you, dear. You look lovely as well. Very well. Thank you.
Thank you. My
How's
lights, I'm a little yellow from my lights, but that's just the way it is. We're here not to talk about us looking good, but we're here to get real about love. And every
to make love
week,
look good. Yeah.
what did you say?
To make love look good.
To make love look good to you, because people, I've been in this industry for over 29 years, and people call me every day with disappointments and challenges, breakups, heartbreaks. The whole Corona thing has really thrown a big wrench
Wow, I
into,
bet. Yeah.
it's caused a lot of couples to realize they're not meant to be together. And also bringing people into a reality because they were together a lot, where when you're dating, you really don't know the phase of somebody until you're with them a lot. So
Yeah.
last week, Clayton, you got so many responses
I
from your
did.
fans
A
about
flood.
the unrealistic expectations. So tell me what happened. What was the response?
Well, a lot of women were we were talking in some of our work and in my private videos, we were talking about, a lot of women are irritated, and I said, well, ladies, don't get angry, get curious.
Yeah.
What's going on with men? How do I learn to communicate with them better when men are shy about their feelings, when men are, protective because they think if she really knew me, how I really am, some fears, some insecurities that I have, some low self-esteem, perhaps, she'll run. So a lot of men have learned not to be honest because it causes them a lot of pain. So we need to create a new environment.
The honesty thing is what Get Real About Love, the whole book, the whole process is
Right.
being honest, right? And most people that date, now women, thank you for reading all of these books, but I've been working privately with men for over 29 years, and they're super private. They don't want other guys to know they're having problems, right? Don't you find that to happen,
Well, I
Clay?
think you make a very good point because a lot of men don't have the support system. They don't handle their problems by talking them through like women sort of
Yeah.
learn to do,
Yes.
typically. We're much more lone wolf in terms of things that are hurting us or make us feel vulnerable. And in fact, other men will use them against you in business.
Hmm.
If they find a weak point, they will seek to exploit that sometimes, and it can cost you a lot of money. It can cost you a position. It can cost you. So it's dangerous looking
Yeah.
and feeling for a lot of men. And then we
Well,
bring that same
interesting,
mentality.
interesting. Go ahead. I want to say this. When people are in breakups or divorce or whatever, it affects their business bottom line, especially for men. Women, we gather together. I have love support groups. We talk, we process, we
Right.
support. Men, they're like, I'm not telling anybody that this girl left, or because I'm in this phase now where I feel vulnerable. So unless you're going to, SLA, or you're going to Al-Anon or these other groups, or you're coaching with somebody like myself, we help you to stay focused on the reality of where a person is at. Now, we covered some of these phases in the breakup phases as we started this process, but there's lots of phases that singles are in, right? So unless people
Yeah.
are honest, like Clayton, you've been meeting people since your breakup, but you knew you were in a phase. So what did you do?
Well, for example, the other day I was sitting at the beach and I ran into an old friend of mine that I had met on the way to Rome. This was some time ago.
Somebody's calling already.
Um, and I wasn't particularly, interested to start a dating relationship. I feel like I'm still really getting back in touch with myself. But I found myself automatically asking questions about, I know that she had gone through a breakup recently. What phase are you in? Do you feel like you are really wounded from it? Do you feel like it was easy to let go and move on because you saw it? Where were you? And so what's happening is this honest communication that's non-judgmental, non-threatening, just open. Tell me what's going on with you. Is ushering in a brand new phase of discovery for me before I even think about whether I want to be emotionally involved with someone. So you're working.
This is the brilliance of really looking at yourself. That's really what you just did. You explored yourself, you explored your patterns, and you even, I remember when we were going through this, when the time we've been working together, that you were really shocked at how many of the love phases that you hadn't become aware of before, that now you're so aware, and it just makes you so much more confident that you're not going to make the same mistake again, right? Like an actor, you got to take 2, take 3, take 4 when you're in a scene. Your life scene now will help you not to have so many takes when you're dating with somebody, I guess you could say.
Knowledge is power, I think. When you realize just, let's see, what phase, oh, I recognize where I am. I'm bargaining with my little guy inside who may feel really emotional. He may really, miss that partner. And I'm finding that my adult child relationship is a really clear thing. That emotional part of us, it's that little child inside that wants certain things. And to gently and lovingly say, hey, listen, buddy, I know you're hurting about this. We need to allow other people to have their healing phase the way they need to do it. We don't need to take too much responsibility here to fix or patch up other people. They need to do that on their own, in their own way. Yeah. So I take a very loving hand at taking care of my inner guy and loving him up so that I don't need as much of that from the woman in my life. And that is very empowering.
The interesting thing is that once people know this, so I'm going to just read off some things real quick, because we talked about, these are the single love phases, and most people, they're either heartbroken, which is all the sad kind of phases that people are in. These are the ones where if you're honest with people, you're going to have so much more clarity and you're not going to hurt anybody, which keeps taking people back to the same pain over and over and over, right? So if like right now, I would say Clayton is in a low pressure phase. He's not ready for a relationship. He's still working on himself, right?
Oh, yeah. Number one, low pressure phase.
Yeah. So when you meet a woman and you can tell she's got that thing for you, baby, she's like, woo, God, I saw you on TV, or I remember you, and I've always had a crush on you. Now the other side's going, maybe I should take this on. Maybe I should do this. But if you know that somebody's really interested and you're in the low pressure phase, you have to be honest and say, right now, I'm not really looking for any commitment. Because I'm in a healing process, and I just wanted to honor you because it seems like, you have an interest, and I don't want to make you feel rejected. Now, this is what happens when people don't tell people this stuff, then they feel rejected, and it makes them put up a wall to then go out and take a chance. Because I was teaching flirting, which I'm going to be teaching online. I taught it to a big group, and they're like, I gave up after I got rejected twice. And I'm like, that's because they don't understand that somebody's in the middle of a bunch of crap that they are going to be happy that they didn't get involved with.
Well, the temptation is to take someone else's disinterest, whatever level it is, personally.
Yeah. But if you knew that, say, for example, I met a guy and he said, oh my God, I'd love to date you. And I said, well, I'm married. He goes, well, I'm into open relationships. I'm a swinger. And I was like, wow, well, good for you for knowing who you are. I'm not a swinger, but thanks for saying, hey, baby, I'd like to swing with you. It was a compliment, but I'm not into it. But there's people that are. So when you get involved with somebody, say, what kind of relationship are you looking for? Well, right now I want an open relationship. I want to be able to sleep with whoever I want. You can do that. I know I don't want that. So I say, well, no, I'm going to opt out of that. But at least I knew before I dropped my panties or got involved. And then the person said, well, you never asked. So why, if you don't ask, I'm not going to tell.
Right? Well, in the little bit of time we have left, let's talk about the other phases that people find themselves and that we talked about before our recording, where people might find themselves.
Well, these are that we just covered too. The next is comfortable and confident on your own. And you really need space just to still explore where you are. And you just need to be clear. Right now, I'm really doing a lot of reading and research about my goals and visions, and I'm not looking for anything right now. And, people might think that, wow, that honesty makes them honor you even more. Then there's the person, like right now, a lot of people don't have money. They lost their jobs. They are back into the securing their vehicle to lock down work and to focus on taking care of their situation, right? So as we go back through this new developments in Italy, people coming back to work, some people don't have money to date and they feel that they have to get in to secure their vehicle. That is very, very important for men to feel that confidence that they can ask a woman out because they have their, house in order. Then there's the workaholic people. Hello, I was one. I know probably Clay, us workaholic people, sometimes we're the most guilty of rushing into love. So what would you say about that?
Well, my constant travel, I think, would probably qualify me as that. It seems like, the last 3 relationships I've got involved with have been with foreign women. And, whether I'm on this continent or that continent, I'm away from whoever I'm trying to get close to. Yeah. So I'm not an easy guy to get next to just because of that. And I had to look at, as I come more into the comfort and confidence phase here, I recognized myself in that. Whereas, I'm just really taking time to build my career, even though I'm doing it mainly on the internet in this COVID phase. But I'm feeling much more comfortable in my own skin and feeling my self-esteem rising as I'm giving less of my power away and really enjoying having it in me and being very self-sourced. Yeah. And that helped me to understand where my previous partner was in terms of her really being focused on getting her life together and feeling secure after a difficult marriage.
Well, all of us know these things, these phases internally, but we don't want to deal with it. We're not being honest. So That's what's the real rub is if your work takes over everything, then you need to get real about love. So we have so much more to share and we will be seeing you very soon. Please leave your comments about these things so that we can, we can understand where you're at and to give you, because right now, if you're a workaholic and you think love is just going to magically come into your lap, it might, but it might not be the person that's in the same phase you are. So exactly. when you were building your career or, you have to get real. So we'll see you next week. And we will continue on giving you great tips so that you can achieve extraordinary love.
To love.
So Clayton, let's expand on this just a little bit more before we end this. Have you ever noticed that people have what I call the once I syndrome? Like once I get to this certain level, once I move to my apartment, once I lose 20 pounds, then I'm going to open my heart up to love, right? So did you ever have the once I syndrome or date someone that did?
Yes. I think that I recognize this in that when you're dating someone that is in a very insecure situation, and for example, they've lost their home, they've lost perhaps their livelihood, they're under a tremendous amount of pressure just to feel good about themselves in their own life with the basic components of being able to feed themselves, being able to shelter themselves, not depending on other people. I really recognized this in the last experience that I had and even in my marriage. Without going into too much detail, my wife had an immigration problem and she was not able to come back to the United States. So it created a lot of stress in her life about, oh my God, my life, And even though that wasn't true in my last relationship, there were pressures that were created from a previous relationship that really made her feel, I believe, really needing to spend a lot of energy on herself to feel good about her life before she had very much to give to me. She tried to be honest about that, to her credit. I love her for that. She's a delightful person. But I think I encountered her in a phase when she was really just trying to put, one foot in front of the other and just get herself to a more comfortable.
Like once my divorce gets settled, once I move, once my son is in college. So when people say, well, once I blah, 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 you need to hear it. Because if you don't, you're going to be one of those people in waiting. It's like a lady in waiting for a man to, you know, or a woman to achieve a certain degree of success before she allows herself to find love. Now, I get calls from women all over the world that say, now I'm 40, I want a kid, and I worked myself to get to where I am, and now I want this. And I'm like, wow, okay, that's great. But you got to realize how you present it and the phase that you're in, and that a man that would want to possibly have a child with you, and it's very easy. I've helped thousands of people find love at that time, but it's the way you present it. Because if you're a workaholic and then he's a workaholic, and then you think about baby in the mix, sometimes guys will pull back because of the energy of you putting out being a workaholic, because you have to strive.
Well,
right?
yeah, just the way you expressed that, it sounded like a very strident, you know, you're the man, you have a penis, you should do this. I've done all my work, I'm ready. Aren't you ready? You know, and
I know. And women
has a
pressure men.
right.
I would love to hear from all the people that are watching this, men and women. You know, have you ever felt pressured, or did the pressure of your time clock make a man run? Because it's the way that you present yourself in that situation. And it's very important for a lot of women to hear this. But we're going to move on because we have a few more. You date high-speed chase women. Break the bad boy, play girl. I think we're gonna have to save this one for next week. Ooh, this is a good one. I think we're gonna have to save this one for next week. But because it's a whole conversation. But before we do that, I'm gonna finish this. If a person's new to a city, right, that is a phase. Like a lot of people say, I'm leaving Los Angeles and I'm moving to New York. So then they go to New York. And they get to New York, and then they're going, holy crap, I don't know anything about New York. Then they go, I don't want to get involved with anybody because I want to get adjusted to New York, right? So don't put love on the back burner. If it shows up, know thyself, know where you are, right? So that you can figure out, the phases of yourself and others. So that's really what this was all about. And I hope these examples will help.
I'm in a low pressure phase. You know, I'm got a little confusion going on here. I like you. Maybe there'd be some help there to get oriented to the city, but as long as it comes from a low pressure place. And I think that's what I was really encountering. But because I was a little further along in my recovery process from my marriage, I was more ready to have something more committed. So the way I was loving felt like pressure to my partner.
Yeah. Well, that's why it's so good for you to do the internal work, like the book. If you buy it, we are trying to turn it into Italian. I'm in the mix of turning it into Italian because I cannot speak Italian.
I've devoured
But Clayton, it's so funny because people really do believe that celebrities are like absolved from any of these problems, and yet many of them are in the midst of divorces right now. I'm watching it all every day, like who's broken up and who's back together. Yeah, and the importance of your life partner, everyone, this will be our final wrap up. The importance of the choice of your life partner. If you've made bad choices, get real, right? And if you want to make a new choice, then you need to have deep conversations, not only with your own self, but with the future partners, without it being an interrogation. And as you know yourself, you'll be able to ask questions very eloquently that will where you just sit back and ask, and then you're going to discover these things without having to say, well, I want to know why you got divorced. Like, look at that. Oh, who would want to answer me? Because all these events that I do, speed dating and everything.
Prejudgment, and prejudice. And, I just want to tell those viewers that are thinking about buying the book or have the book already, we're starting here this dialogue on chapter 4, Single Love Phases, and it starts on page 37, just as a reference to kind of follow along. We're kind of working our way through the book, and we wanted to give each of you a bit of a thumbnail sketch on what that chapter deals with is our motive. So we hope you liked it.
Thank you. We're going to wrap up now, and I thank you for being so raw and real. I've been through this myself with disappointments and sadness, but it was me making when I really look back through my journals of 28 years, I always knew, like I'd say, a warning, this guy doesn't seem available, but I'm going to do it anyway. And I got myself into a situation. So if you're in a love situation, let us know. We want to hear your comments. I know Clayton calls and he's like, wow, so many people are loving this. So if you're loving it, let us know. We're also going to be on Clayton's YouTube and my YouTube with other videos that you'll see as we grow this. But these are super important issues. So Clayton, thank you.
Look up our history on Clayton Norcross on YouTube, and there's an archive there of our past shows and things. If you're just joining us and you want to catch up, that's a good place to go. See some of the personal videos that I've put up on Instagram in support of building a broader global market with Renee to help people with their love lineage and their love experience. That's what we're all about. So aloha.
Bye. Aloha. My life is dedicated to people's hearts. And thank you, Clayton, for sharing the depths. Because when people are honest, it's kind of a shock. I mean, people are like, he told me this. I was, wow, you know. So be one of those people and you're going to have more extraordinary love, I promise.
And it feels so good to let go of blame and just take responsibility for what you're creating in your life. You get free. It's great.
Yeah, you're a completely different person. I mean, your heart was so heavy and now you feel like, wow, you understand her, you understand you, and your heart can feel open, you know?
Yeah, and I have no judgment of her. You know, I can release her to do her healing work in her own way and me to do mine. So it's very freeing.
Well, that freedom will bring you more love, and that's what we wish for you until next week. So send us your comments. Mwah. We'll see you soon.
Okay.